But does that mean they're going to put their trust into a digital equivalent of a fiat currency? I mean, yes, the fiat currencies derive their value because the governments have decreed them to be valuable. But ultimately, it's not the government decree that makes fiat currencies valuable. It's the faith that the public has in that decree, right? Because once you lose confidence, it's got, look, the Zimbabwe dollar is still the currency of Zimbabwe, and all the government laws making it legal tender doesn't stop it from collapsing. And the same thing with the Reichsmark in the Weimar Republic. It doesn't matter, right? It's once the confidence goes, then the currency is gone, right? It's obliterated. And so Bitcoin, even though it's not, deriving value from a legal tender status, which actually makes it worse than a regular fiat currency, all of its value comes from trust. It comes from trust that other people are going to ascribe value to Bitcoin and are going to want to buy it, right? But what if that doesn't happen? What if people lose faith in Bitcoin? Either because something else better comes along, right? Just like, look at all the problems now. Oh, Google's getting in trouble. Just maybe people are going to search through Microsoft or, a Bing with their chat, with their AI, or, and where did Microsoft come from? I mean, where did Google come from? But because before that, people were using Yahoo or other search engines that already went out of business because something better came along. So you have no idea why people may lose confidence in Bitcoin over the years, or maybe just the whole crypto fad is a fad and everybody loses interest. But here's my whole take on it is I do see value in a digital representation of money that can be more easily utilized in commerce, that could be a better unit of account, a better medium of exchange, right, than a physical bar of gold, right? Just like when we use gold as money originally, and gold has been money for a long time because of how well it works as money and how it's better than other commodities that could also be used as money and have been used in money historically as money. But one of the things that made gold a better money until it was corrupted by government was the ability to use gold as backing for currency, because that increased the utility of gold when you can store gold in a depository, whether it's a bank or a goldsmith, and issue notes that are redeemable in that gold and which derive their value from that gold, but can then be utilized in commerce instead of gold as a substitute for the gold. So instead of having to go and get my gold and giving it to you, or shave off a little bit of my gold from a bar, we could just have notes, paper, and we could exchange that instead of the gold, because we know the gold's there and we can get it whenever we want. So that was an improvement for gold. Blockchain, right, the internet, takes it to a much greater degree, because now that bar can sit in a vault somewhere, and instead of issuing paper currency that represents ownership of that gold, I can issue a digital currency, and we could, use a blockchain to authenticate and validate all of the transactions, right? So now I can do everything that Bitcoin promises but can't deliver on with a cryptocurrency fully backed by and redeemable in gold, because I can take a gram of gold, tokenize it, put it on a blockchain, and now everybody can transact commerce in it. In fact, we don't even need silver or copper or nickel anymore, because I could buy a pack of chewing gum and pay for it in gold, because I can pay for it with the digital currency, and each unit can be divided into a fraction of a gram, so that I can do all commerce. And the difference between that and Bitcoin is that it's actually stable enough to be used as a medium of exchange, and it actually has value stored. It has all the value of the gold that is backing up the crypto. Whereas, Bitcoin has nothing backing it up other than hype, other than faith. Right? It's, but it's a Ponzi, it's a pyramid, so it eventually has to collapse. So everything that people claim they want with Bitcoin, gold can do all that. The only thing that gold can't do is you have to have a third party involved that you trust to store that gold. But that has always been the case. Ever since the creation of currency, there has always been a third party that has been trusted. And because of competition, because nobody has a monopoly on being that third party, the third parties that want to be the custodians of the gold and issue the cryptocurrencies that are backed by that gold, they compete with one another based on that trust, based on that confidence. And so the free market will make sure that the most trustworthy entities are the most successful custodians, because it's those currencies that merchants are going to want to get paid in, that people are going to want to save. And once you build up a reputation for being a trustworthy custodian of gold, you don't want to lose that. That reputation has huge value in the market because it will enable you to issue your tokens at some premium to the melt value of the gold, and that's value to the business. And just like anything else, I mean, people say, oh, we can't trust third parties. Well, if you couldn't trust third parties, there would be no insurance industry, right? All insurance is based on the commitment of the third party. You buy life insurance, and when you die, your beneficiaries get money. Where's the money coming from? The insurance company. You trust that the insurance company is going to make good on its obligation. It can go bankrupt, and your heirs will get nothing, right? But why do people buy insurance? Well, because these insurance companies build up reputations, and they have third parties that will validate. They get audited, So if you think that we can't have a monetary system based on gold and then digitized or tokenized, you just don't believe in capitalism. You just don't believe that the free market works, because it does work. It works in everything. Now, the only problem that I see to a world in which gold is remonetized and the private sector issues currency, legitimate currency, not fiat currency, our governments are going to hate it. So governments will try to attack it with regulation. Well, they're already attacking Bitcoin with regulations right now anyway. But all governments won't be able to attack it, and they won't be able to eradicate it, right? Because they're not all, going to see it as a big threat. I mean, it will be a threat to the United States because it will be a threat to the dollar's role as a reserve currency, although the dollar may lose that role even without gold, just because it self-destructs on its own. But yes, I mean, there's going to be rules and regulations that will complicate it. Just like right now, they're trying to put more rules and regulations on Airbnb because it competes with hotels, on Uber or Lyft because they compete with taxi cabs. They put regulations on Federal Express because it competed with the post office. The government doesn't like competition, and so it tries to encumber its competition with expensive rules and regulations. So the same thing is probably going to happen with gold-backed cryptos. But that will simply give advantages to those gold-backed cryptos that are originated outside the United States or outside of any country that is imposing unnecessary regulations. It'll give a competitive advantage to the issuers that are not subjected to those regulations. But of course, everybody will be subjected to the free market regulations, which are the most effective means of regulating any enterprise.